My name is Cyndia Ortega, and I'm from San Diego, but I'm a first-generation Afro-Latina from the Caribbean island of Dominican Republic. I grew up close to the border, which is, close to Tijuana, Mexico, and it was very diverse. Growing up, there was a lot of Asian Americans, Mexican Americans, African Americans, and a few whites in the Otay Ranch area, but still there was a good amount of diversity that I always felt like included. But that once you go up north to San Diego, you will see a little bit of a difference between races, and I didn't grow up really noticing it until I started really going into college and started realizing the impact and the difference between different regions within the community I lived in.
What was it going to school like in the school system in San Diego?
Well, it's crazy because as you grow up, you start learning about these things. When you're young, you don't really notice it. Like I was in middle school and we had a police officer that was assigned to our school, and it was just kind of normalized. And everything seemed pretty correct and right, very inclusive. But there was like a disproportionate, it's not till later on I started seeing the disproportionate of different communities, and whether there were newly built homes and how much money that school system was really putting out to the kids in the education. You could see the difference between community to community, even in southern San Diego.
Now in San Diego, there's not a lot of Afro-Latinos down there, and that's a term that you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
What does that actually mean to you? And what was that like? And how long have you identified like that?
Okay. Yeah, that's something that Afro-Latina, I have claimed that, like pretty recently when I was in college, when I started taking women's study classes and I started learning about Taino, Indigenous women from the island, and starting to understand like the divide within Dominican Republic and how the colonizers divided, Haiti and Dominican Republic, and realizing that the Indigenous people there, the Tainos, interacted and mated with Africans. So I felt like I needed to claim that other side of me, because then I was, excluding some of my ancestors. But that came recently. I mean, growing up, I was strict, like I'm Latina, I'm Latina, I'm Latina. And that was what it was. And when I started to educate myself and learn about my history, I started realizing I can't leave out that side of me. So growing up, I actually got some pushback from Mexican Americans. That they were really aggressive on, I'm Latino and this is what Latino looks like. And because of my skin complexion, I'm darker, they would initially tell me, you're black, you're not Latina. And it was really hard for me because I'm like, no, I'm Latina. I love my food, the dancing, the culture, everything of Dominican Republic. I'm first generation. Both of my parents were born in Santo Domingo. So everything growing up was Latin. And I didn't know that other side of Afro and black, and being labeled and feeling like because of the color of my skin, I was being boxed. And they always would think, oh, maybe you're mixed. And when I would say, I'm full Dominican, it was just like, it was very hard for them to grasp. And I felt, ashamed of it in some way or not. Like the color of my skin, which I'm sure lots of women of color feel. And that's why so many women, tend to bleach or, don't want to tan for those reasons. And I'm guilty of it as well. So then now I have the other side of like a lot of people from the East Coast. When I tell them, oh yeah, I'm Dominican, they're like, you're not Dominican. Like, you're not from the Bronx, you're not from Brooklyn. And I'm like, well, there's different Dominicans. I'm a Cali Dominican. I was born in California. Like, this is what I know. I may not sound or speak the Spanish the same as you. I may not make the moro, and, because I'm also vegan. So immediately, you tell any Dominican that, they're cutting you off. But yeah, there's definitely a difference between how we're raised. Like, I had my tight community of Dominicans, and that's all I knew, other than when I went to Dominican Republic.
Why did you move to Los Angeles? And since you've been here a couple of years, how has it been in terms of being Latina, Afro-Latina, and coming from really, I guess, the sister city of LA is San Diego.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. It's a different vibe. I mean, for sure, San Diego has like some similar things that you can find in LA, but LA to me just seemed like it was close enough to be, you know, near family and a completely different world, you know, new people, new vibrations, new experiences. And I think I really got really grounded and rooted in my Afro-Latina being here in LA. I don't think I would have gotten to the place that I'm at if I stayed in San Diego.
And why so?
I just feel like there was that disconnect, feeling like, what am I? Am I this? Am I that? And when I came to LA and I was just immersed with other Afro-Latinas, I felt rooted, I felt grounded, and I felt proud of being both, because then I started getting into more of intersectional thinking and realizing that I can't show up to any space as just a woman or just a person of color. I show up as an intersectional being. So intersectionality is a term coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, and she basically, you know, came about this term to discuss the issues between women of color who are facing oppressions from two different fronts or multiple fronts. So we as individuals have various characteristics that we carry, you know, whether that's our sexual orientation, our religion, the color of our skin, the way our hair is, however that is. And all of that is you're coming about, you're a being, and you're living in a system that oppresses you from different avenues. So she wanted a term that really could highlight that. Just like I said, I can't show up just as a woman. I can't just show up as just a person of color. I have to show up as a woman of color, and I'm oppressed because I'm a woman as well because I'm a person of color. So that's really where I started to embrace Afro-Latina. I'm not just a person that has ancestral roots from Africa, but also from the Caribbean islands.
If you keep it real, there's no person of color that walks into a space that doesn't have at least to deal with their identity from at least two positions or more.
Yeah,
right?
facts.
At least two,
facts.
maybe 3 and 4.
Facts,
you know?
yeah.
But you think about if you're white, middle class, or above, you know, white middle class is a big chunk of America.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've embraced or even understood what intersectionality is all about and what it means. But we're starting to hear more and more about that.
Yes.
Now, did you go to school in San Diego?
Yes, I went to SDSU, San Diego State University, and I received a bachelor's in political science with a minor in women's studies.
Okay, you definitely have that knowledge. I mean, like, to keep it real, I know very few people that can speak on intersectionality that has not walked on a college campus.
I mean, it's because it makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's because people want to just focus on one problem and one solution, and then you leave out how that person is dealing with multiple things from different fronts. And it's like, you can't look at a person like that. You have to look at it just how we look at, you know, for example, I know it's going all the way over here, but even sexuality, like we need to start looking at it on a spectrum. It's kind of the same language, you know, when it comes to intersectionality. When we start looking at it, then we can see how a person is really walking around and like having to deal with the different systems that oppress them on a daily basis. And then we can start creating solutions that are multifaceted that can be beneficial for that individual.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.